Reasonable doubt takes us back 6 months earlier. Jax and Lewis are finally in a good place. Their son Spencer is off at boarding school, their teenage daughter's giving them a few headaches, and the ghost from their past, Tony, still hasn't gone away. It's been almost a year and she's still causing drama, suing them because of her dead baby. Jax is done dealing with their lawyer, Ben, and fires him on the spot. You can tell she's used to running the show. At work, though, Jax is restless. She's craving a big, juicy case, something to shake things up. But the partners? They're side-eyeing her, worried she's not pulling in enough revenue. During the partners' meeting, the topic turns to promoting Bill. Jax isn't having it, says he needs more time, more real experience. She's not wrong. But you can tell they've already made up their minds to make him a partner. Meanwhile, Jax meets her potential new client, Ozzie Edwards, a former child star trying to step out of his parents' shadow. His mom, Monica, and dad/manager Sal want his girlfriend Wendy to sign an NDA, basically protect the brand. But Ozzie hesitates, and Jax picks up on it instantly. She gives him space, something his parents clearly never do. Next day, Jax shows up at the OBPA event to support Corey. But guess who she runs into? Ozzie again, this time with Wendy. Jax gives him some tough love, tells him if he thinks Wendy is using him for his money, then sure, get an NDA. But if not, stop letting everyone treat him like a kid and fight for the woman he loves. It's one of those moments where you see Jax at her best, fierce, real, unapologetic. A few nights later, Jax and Lewis head out for dinner. He's excited about hiring another black coder at work. Things seem light until they bump into Tony and her new date. And Tony? Oh, she tries it. She takes a jab at Jax. Big mistake. Jax destroys her verbally, right there. Lewis can barely get a word in. Afterward, though, Jax and Lewis talk things out. Both admit their mistakes. Jax admits that she's scared Tony might wedge her way between them again. Meanwhile, Ozzie's back home, dropping bombshells on his parents. Wendy's not signing the NDA. He's firing them both, quitting the pig project, and marrying Wendy. And as expected, his mom is losing it. She pulls the Snow Bunny versus Black Kings card, warning him that Wendy's hiding something that could backfire on him. That night, Ozzie confronts Wendy. Things escalate fast. She storms out. He tries to chase after her, but the argument gets heated. Accusations flying about his parents' control, manipulation, all of it. At the office, Bill's on a mission to make partner as soon as possible. He wants that seat and gets advice to cozy up to Jax, because he'll need her vote too. He takes her to lunch, talks about his black wife and kids, playing the relatable card, and surprisingly, they actually click. Later, Jax and Lewis meet with Tony again. This time, Tony's crying intimidation and asking for more money. $1.5 million. Her lawyer suggests Lewis give her closure. That word, it hits Jax wrong. Tony's angry and grieving. Elsewhere, Wendy's assistant reports her missing. Suddenly, the cops are knocking on Ozzie's door. He admits they fought, but insists she just needed space. He's trying to downplay it, but the police aren't buying it. The questions get tighter, so he calls Jax. She arrives at Ozzie's house, and Corey's already there. Ozzie looks a mess, swearing it's all a misunderstanding. Jax knows this is a mess. A famous black man and a missing white girlfriend? The optics are definitely against him. She tells him he needs a black female lawyer who actually believes in him. And honestly, that moment seals it. Ozzie hires her officially. She tells him to lay low and not speak to anyone again. While Ozzie steps out to talk to his dad, Jax confides in Corey. She's worried he's already said too much to the cops. The next morning, Jax pulls Daniel in to dig into Wendy's disappearance. She also brings Bill on board, and he's practically glowing at the chance. Meanwhile, Lewis meets with Tony to give her closure. Yeah, and about that. Tony says she'll drop the suit if he spends the night with her. Wait, what? Lewis explains that Tony wants him to spend the night with her to talk about Jaden. Yeah, right. Jax is not buying it, but Lewis swears it's innocent, that this could finally end the lawsuit drama. He begs her to trust him. By nightfall, the story explodes. Wendy's disappearance hits the media. A neighbor just sold a video of Ozzie fighting with Wendy, and Ozzie's in the bathroom screaming. There are scratch marks on his body. Something terrible must have gone down. Jax tells him to get proactive, offer a reward, look like a man desperate to find his fiancée, but he seems to be taking everything too lightly. He believes she's just being dramatic. Then they find out through Wendy's assistant that the cops found Wendy's phone on the freeway. Jax confronts Ozzie again, only to find out he ignored her advice and forgot to mention that tiny detail. He's so used to people taking care of him that he forgets he's a grown-up, not a child actor anymore. That evening, Lewis heads to Tony's house. He helps her clean Jaden's nursery. It's a heavy, emotional moment. And as expected, Tony gets touchy. Thankfully, Lewis shuts it down. She does sign the paper, but not without a fight. And just as Jax is trying to calm down, boom, the Ozzie video drops online. It's everywhere. Wendy's sister and friends hold a press conference calling Ozzie out for not even pretending to care about finding her. The internet turns on him overnight. Even though Ozzie's family still thinks he's untouchable, the cops show up with a search warrant. His world is crumbling. And Ozzie's feeling the heat. Morning comes with bad news. Eric calls. The police are ready to arrest Ozzie. When he wakes up, Jax breaks it to him. Wendy's body was found near his cabin. The bullet in her matches a gun registered to him. The case just went from missing person to murder suspect. Ozzie panics, begs Jax not to leave. So she sends Bill to handle the arrest instead. Bill manages to cut a quiet deal. The cops can arrest Ozzie from Jax's home without the press finding out. Smooth move. Before they arrive, Ozzie's in the mirror practicing his "I'm innocent" face, literally rehearsing how to look shocked. He even leaves a voicemail for his friend Alex saying they found Wendy's body. Then the police roll in, cuff him, and take him away. Very low-key, no press, no paparazzi. Just when it feels like Jax might finally exhale, her dad, Eddie, shows up out of nowhere. No warning. Back at the station, Ozzie bails himself out and continues to act like he's allergic to good decisions. The media's all over him, and when one reporter gets too close, Ozzie snaps, literally assaults him. The judge slaps him with house arrest, but Ozzie still can't stay put. And weirdly, the prosecutor doesn't move to revoke his bail. Almost like they want him to crash and burn in public, ruining his chances with any future jury. Jax, of course, has her own strategy. She's determined to prove Ozzie's innocence by showing that other people had access to the cabin and the gun. She's trying to flip the narrative. Make the world see Ozzie not as a killer, but as a man caught in bad circumstances. But her firm partners are on her case, asking for constant updates, and Jax can feel the distrust simmering. It's like they're waiting for her to slip up. But of course, Ozzie's posting thirst traps online. Yes, thirst traps. She's done. He seems addicted to shooting himself in the foot. What a man-child. She orders Daniel to basically babysit him, figure out what's really going on in that house. Across town, Jax's daughter Naima gets caught up in some teenage chaos. Her friends dare her to steal a purse, and she takes the bait, landing herself in handcuffs. Her parents are furious, grounding her instantly. Back at Ozzie's place, things spiral fast. Daniel starts getting close to Ozzie's sister and soon learns the truth. Ozzie's using. When he overdoses, his sister rushes to save him with Narcan. She's the one supplying him the drugs. Her twisted way of protecting him. The family's more focused on keeping Ozzie's image clean than saving his life, which is pathetic. They won't even let him go to the hospital because they're afraid word will get out. The family's still more focused on PR than saving their son. Later that night, Eddie joins Jax's family for dinner. He tries to apologize to explain his past addiction, but Jax isn't having it. She's not ready to forgive. Meanwhile, Bill, the firm's resident opportunist, is secretly spying on his wife. She's ignoring his calls, and now he's bad-mouthing Jax to the other partners. As a result, tension keeps brewing. During a partners' meeting, Kathy rudely calls Jax out for being a wild card. Jax doesn't hold back, demands an apology, and fires right back. The following morning, Jax brings in her therapist friend, Autumn, to talk to Ozzie. And what unfolds is gut-wrenching. Ozzie opens up about being sexually abused as a child, how that trauma pushed him toward drugs and left him broken under the Hollywood spotlight. Meanwhile, two slick partners, Vince and Steven, manipulate Bill into thinking that turning on Jax might earn him a promotion. Classic office politics. Later, Bill stops by Jax's office, acting all supportive while she vents about Kathy, who, by the way, got fired. She even opens up about Ozzie's overdose, officially welcoming Bill to her team. He flatters her with praise, but we all know he's playing a dangerous game. When she gets home, Lewis updates her about Naima's drama, and they finally agree. It's time to tell the kids about Jaden once Spencer gets back. Jax, meanwhile, has a new theory. She believes Ozzie wasn't alone the night Wendy died. Whoever was with him has everything to lose if the truth comes out. That could have been his alibi. But then we see Alex on the phone with Ozzie. Ozzie pleads with him to tell the truth. But Alex coldly refuses and hangs up. And I can't help wondering, who's Alex really protecting? And how far will he go to keep that secret buried? Jax and Daniel show up at Ozzie's house to talk to his sister, Kristen. They need answers. Who gave Ozzie the drugs the night Wendy died? Kristen swears it wasn't her that day, though she admits she's been supplying him since. What she can give them, though, is a name: Byron, Ozzie's old dealer. Back at the firm, Jax unveils her new defense strategy: use Ozzie's past trauma to reshape public opinion. They'll reveal his childhood sexual abuse and frame Wendy's murder as the work of a drifter haunting the area. But first, he has to tell his parents. The next day, Ozzie finally does. He tells his parents about the abuse, but refuses to name his abuser. Meanwhile, Daniel sneaks into Ozzie's room, finds a box under the bed, and, jackpot, discovers Ozzie's old journals. Then, in the final twist, Daniel calls Jax after reading one of those journal entries. The truth is devastating. Ozzie was sexually abused by a woman named Monica when he was just 13. Across town, at Lewis's job, he finds out that his new employee, Sam, lied on his resume and can't do half of what he claimed to know. Sam keeps messing up, testing Lewis's patience. Inside the courthouse, the trial kicks off. The prosecutor sets the tone early, painting Ozzie as a manipulative actor putting on another performance for the jury. But Jax flips that on its head. If Ozzie's an actor, she argues, then he's trained to tell the truth under pressure. They keep playing a game of chess and checkers in that courtroom. The next day, the prosecution parades a lineup of witnesses: cops, the mortuary attendant, everyone remotely tied to the case. But Jax and her co-counsel, Bill, dismantle their credibility piece by piece. They show how the cops zeroed in on Ozzie and ignored other suspects. Speaking of Lewis, he's getting desperate. He secretly calls Daniel, asking for help tracking Eddie. Daniel agrees and sets him up with a GPS tracker. Daniel also notices Kristen dodging calls from a mystery man. She brushes it off as an annoying friend, but the mystery man Kristen's been ignoring? It's Alex. He shows up demanding $100,000 to skip town. Kristen panics but buys time, saying she'll figure it out. The next day, the prosecution brings in Ozzie's ex. She calls him abusive, but Jax turns it around, revealing Ozzie once had a restraining order against her. Then a neighbor testifies that Wendy and Ozzie fought often, but always made up. The next day, Alex flips sides. He cuts a deal with the prosecutor, and when Alex takes the stand, he drops a bombshell. He and Ozzie got high that night, then drove to see Wendy. He claims Ozzie went inside the cabin, they argued, and then a gunshot. He panicked and ran. But Jax isn't letting him off that easy. On cross, she rips him apart, exposing his immunity deal, his drug business, and the lack of proof that Ozzie was even in that car. Outside court, Jax storms into Monica's house, no hesitation. She accuses Monica of being a predator and straight up calls her Wendy's killer. They exchange words, heated. And Daniel? He finally takes Crystal's advice and invites Kristen over. He asks about Alex. She swears she didn't know about the drug deal. He believes her. One thing leads to another, and they end up on the couch, literally. Jax keeps calling him, no answer. So she leaves a voicemail, saying she's convinced Monica killed Wendy and needs him to check Monica's alibi. We immediately see Monica at home, burning a bloody shirt. Ozzie calls her mid-burn, ranting about Alex lying in court. He asks what she's doing. She just says, coldly, protecting you. Yeah, things just went from complicated to terrifying. Meanwhile, outside court, Lewis starts tailing Eddie himself. He tells Daniel to keep it from Jax, but you can already feel that secret coming back to bite. Eddie goes to an AA meeting, giving a heartfelt speech about redemption. But it's all lies because he's still using. Over at Ozzie's place, Jax is done playing nice. She tells him she's planning to expose Monica's predatory past right there in court. She wants Monica on the witness stand. Ozzie hesitates, clearly torn, but Jax pushes forward. Even Bill worries this could blow up in her face. She wants to portray the broken child in a broken body. Back at the firm, Bill gets hit with major news. Steven and Vince reveal that the firm's being acquired by a larger one. They want Bill to come with them, but not Jax. When Bill mentions Jax's plan to put Monica on the stand, Vince smirks, saying they'll handle her soon. Monica shows up at Ozzie's house after receiving her subpoena. She admits she found a bloody sweatshirt in his room before the cops arrived and got rid of it. She's terrified Ozzie might actually be the killer. Knowing Monica's testimony could go nuclear, Jax tries a softer approach. She calls Monica, pretending they're on the same side, says this testimony could actually help Ozzie. Then comes the big moment. Monica takes the stand. Jax starts gentle, building trust, then flips the script. She exposes Monica's history of sexually abusing Ozzie in front of everyone. The courtroom explodes. Chaos, gasps, shock. Monica denies everything, but the damage is done. You'll regret this, she warns before walking away. Meanwhile, Jax finds out her mom has stage 2 cancer, and everyone's been hiding it from her, but that's not all Eddie's been hiding. Lewis tells him to come clean, but he knows it'll break her heart. The doctor advises surgery, but Jax insists on a second opinion. Mother Lou? She's done waiting. She chooses to move forward with Dr. Harlow anyway. In a raw, emotional moment, Jax breaks down and tells Chanel everything about the cancer, the power of attorney, the betrayal. Chanel reminds her, Mother Lou's only trying to protect her the way she always has. As Mother Lou heads into surgery, Jax finds herself in the hospital chapel, praying. Eddie joins her, and for the first time in a long time, they talk. Really talk. The surgery is a success, thankfully, but there's no rest in this story. Alex gets hospitalized after being beaten up badly. And Kristen? She just says, Alex won't be a problem. At least not for a while. Back at Jax's house, Mama Lou is home recovering from surgery, and things finally seem calm. Eddie's around, helping. A relief. Until we learn he's hiding another secret. A big one. Turns out he has another daughter. Her name's Chelsea, and she's trouble. Eddie picks her up from jail. She's been locked up over unpaid tickets. At work, Jax and Bill are prepping their next witness, a forensic pathologist named Robert. Their goal? To plant the idea that Wendy's death might have been caused by blunt force trauma before she was shot. If that lands, it could throw the entire prosecution's case into doubt. And Robert testifies, suggesting Wendy's death could have been from brain swelling, not the bullet. But while Jax is fighting in court, Daniel is still digging into Alex and his connection to the Edwards family. He steals his laptop and finds a sex tape of Wendy. The man's face isn't visible, but everyone assumes it's Ozzie. When they play it for him, even Ozzie can't confirm who it is, but it clearly wasn't him. Jax fears the prosecution will spin this as motive, but Bill thinks they can use the tape strategically. On the stand the next day, Rosie reveals that the man in the tape was Ozzie's dad. The Edwards family is crumbling under its own secrets. After court, Sal confronts Rosie for throwing him under the bus. She fires back coldly that she's just cleaning up his mess. Ozzie's sick to his stomach, literally. He begs Jax to let him have dinner at her house. He just can't be alone. Can you blame him? His dad slept with his girlfriend. Over at Ozzie's, Sal tells him Rosie's testimony might actually be swaying public opinion in his favor. But then comes another twist. The sex tape is fake. Rosie paid Alex to swap Vanessa's face with Wendy's. For context, Vanessa is Sal's sister. And yes, Sal's been having an affair with his own sister. Cut to Ozzie's memories, back in 2015, when his dog got sick from eating chocolate. The vet quietly told Rosie to get her kids evaluated. He suspected Ozzie fed the dog on purpose, and in his years of experience, children who abuse animals often become adults who harm people. Rosie defended him, but deep down, Ozzie knew she doubted him. Now, in the present, Jax and Bill visit Ozzie to convince him to testify. He admits he's started to doubt himself. What if he really did kill Wendy? Jax shuts it down fast, reminding him that the prosecution has nothing but circumstantial evidence, and it's okay for him to break down in court because the jury needs to see his humanity. Next day, Ozzie sits with Autumn in therapy. Big reveal. Ozzie's parents hid his conduct disorder from him his entire life. They medicated him but never told him why. He admits he's haunted by the dog incident. He felt his mom stopped believing in his goodness after that. Autumn later testifies in court, explaining Ozzie's emotional immaturity and arrested development. She says his sexual trauma stunted him. He understands consequences intellectually, but emotionally, he's still a child. Crystal believes he couldn't have pulled it off. She says Ozzie's too dumb to pull off a perfect crime. The guy can't even do laundry, let alone clean a murder scene. Jax runs with it. If the jury sees Ozzie's incapability, they'll see the truth. But Bill isn't on board. Turns out he needs this win to make partner. Jax realizes Steven and Vince have been whispering in his ear, and he gets to be promoted if she wins. But there's nothing in it for her. So she asks him to pick a side. Daniel, on the other hand, comes home to a goodbye letter from Kristen. She says her family is broken beyond repair, asks for forgiveness, and signs off with love. Daniel rushes to find her. We see Kristen ditch her phone card and drive off, clearly on the run. Back in court, Ozzie finally takes the stand. He notices his mom and sister aren't there, and his mind flashes to 2015 again. His mom was forcing Adderall on him to keep his career sharp, even after he told her he was done. On the stand, Jax does her magic. She shows the jury how helpless Ozzie really is, how he couldn't plan, execute, or cover up a murder. When asked about the gun, Ozzie says he hadn't seen it in 7 years. He admits he was high the night Wendy died, but he didn't kill her. Mike tries to break him on cross, but Ozzie holds strong. He even points out a key detail. Alex would have needed directions to the cabin. Ozzie was too high to even get there himself. The whole court feels the doubt shift. The next morning, it's closing day. Jax and Mike go head-to-head with powerhouse statements. Jax drives it home with emotion, weaponizes Ozzie's trauma, the weak evidence, the unanswered questions. Everything was now up to the jury. Meanwhile, Rosie's cleaning Ozzie's old room when she finds a letter he wrote to his dead dog. It breaks her. She finally sees her son's innocence and races to apologize. She's been doubting him all his life, and now she knows she was wrong. At the same time, Daniel finally finds Kristen. She's at the cabin, clutching a gun and crying. She admits the truth. Ozzie wasn't the problem, and she was. She killed the dog out of jealousy, because Ozzie loved it more than her. She's breaking down, and he looks at her, terrified. And with one final breath-stealing question, he asks, "Kristen, did you kill Wendy?" So she decided to explain how it all started. On the day Wendy died, after a heated argument with Ozzie, she storms out of the house. Monica steps in to calm Ozzie down, but he's boiling with rage and shoves her so hard it leaves scratches across his chest, which explains why his DNA was not found under Wendy's fingers. Moments later, Alex walks in with drugs. Ozzie's spiraling, ranting about Wendy cheating, about everyone turning against him. Then he checks her location, and apparently she's at his family's cabin. He's too high to drive, so Alex takes the wheel, and they speed off into the night. But what Ozzie finds when they arrive is something straight out of a nightmare. Wendy, tied up, bleeding, barely conscious. He demands answers, and Kristen, panicking, claims Wendy came to confront them for manipulating him. Before she could finish explaining what happened, Ozzie passes out, and Wendy uses that opportunity to escape. Kristen fires a gun, but misses, fortunately. On the brighter side, the courtroom verdict comes in. Ozzie Edwards, not guilty. Everyone erupts in joy. His friends throw a party, and Cordell tries to drag him back into old habits. Ozzie says he's clean now, but Cordell pushes, insisting he deserves just one hit. He refuses, and instead heads to Jax's family dinner. A moment of peace, love, and warmth he hasn't felt in years. After dinner, Jax gets real with him. She tells him it's time to go to rehab. His story's about to blow up, and his family is already planning his next gig. And that kind of fame can be deadly. She tells him she loves him and wants to help him in the ways his parents never could. Ozzie is scared of how to use the freedom he has now, wondering who to trust and how to deal with the triggers to come. He tells her he's mad at her for calling the rehab team on him so soon, but he loves and appreciates her. So when the rehab team shows up, they find him in the bathroom, overdosed. He took the drugs Cordell gave him as a goodbye present, but since his system was clean and he hadn't taken that quantity in a long time, it hit him harder than ever. The medics try their best, but in the end, Ozzie dies. At his funeral, his mother's already talking to entertainment companies, setting up interviews. It just seemed like everyone moved on. Then things spiral again. Kristen's confession reaches Jax, who confronts her for hiding the truth. Kristen claims she thought Ozzie would be fine because they were innocent, meaning she didn't kill Wendy. Kristen confronts her dad and presses him to confess. He turns it back on her, saying she failed at the one thing she was supposed to do: protect Ozzie and make sure he doesn't die. Then he slips up, revealing he's the one who killed Wendy. Here's the truth. Wendy had gone to the Edwards house to expose Rosie for lying to Ozzie about cheating. She wanted to show Ozzie how manipulative his parents really were. Her father, Sal, couldn't handle it. In a rage, he hit Wendy so hard she went unconscious. Kristen walked in and helped him take Wendy to the cabin. And when Ozzie came in, high and passed out, Wendy escaped. Sal chased after her and killed her in the woods. And Alex saw everything, but Sal promised him a lifetime of wealth to keep his mouth shut. He told Kristen Wendy ran into the woods, but that was another lie. He'd already finished the job. When he finally confesses, Sal still tries to pin it on Kristen, calling her a screw-up. What he doesn't realize is the whole thing is being recorded. Moments later, he's arrested. Meanwhile, Jax has her own storm brewing. At work, Bill is made partner. Without Jax's vote, the audacity. Even worse, when the firm is bought out, they still want her on board because she's the one bringing in the money. Jax has had enough. She walks away and plans to start her own firm. Lewis fires his lying employee, and when the guy threatens to sue, Lewis already has proof of every lie he's told. And Bill and Sally? They finally give their messy situationship a real shot. Everything seems peaceful until it's not. The season ends with Jax setting up her new firm, surrounded by family, when out of nowhere, Monica storms in with a gun and fires. We don't know who got hit, Jax, Lewis, or Daniel. And then, I don't even know what to think. Please support me by liking this video and subscribe for more.